Inshallah, today we're going to talk a little bit about history because we haven't done history for a while. And I recited Surah Ibrahim, and in it we learned that the Prophet Ibrahim, of course, built the Kaaba. Today I want it to be a bit of a tangent, something that inshallah is interesting. As usual, I like these tidbits of history. As we're all aware, the one original stone that remains from the time of Ibrahim is which stone? Hajr-e-Aswad. That is the only stone that still remains for 5,000 or 4,000 years. And that is, by the way, a huge achievement. 4,000 years, there's hardly any structure on earth, right? And the building of the Kaaba has gone many times, different buildings, right? The stones of the Kaaba don't go back 4,000 years. The physical bricks of the Kaaba, they are renewed every few decades, believe it or not. The last renewal was 1997. Right? So the stones, the bricks of the Kaaba is like any house, you have to build it over and over again. But there's one brick that has been there for 4,000 years. And that is, of course, the Hajr-e-Aswad. Today's brief khatir, I'm going to give you some interesting facts about the Hajr-e-Aswad that a lot of people perhaps are not aware of. Obviously, there's pre-Islamic, there's Seerah, and post-Islamic. Pre-Islamic, what we know is that from our tradition, Jibreel alayhi salam brought the Hajr-e-Aswad to Ibrahim alayhi salam. It is a stone or a rock that is coming from up above. It is not something from this earth. It is a blessing Allah gifted to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And that's why the people preserved it. That's why every time the Kaaba was rebuilt, they kept the Hajr-e-Aswad. The other stones kept on, but the Hajr-e-Aswad, they kept it. Even pre-Islam, they knew this was a special Hajr. And the Hajr-e-Aswad, of course, we begin and end our Tawaf at Hajr-e-Aswad. And our Prophet ﷺ, we know that he was the one who lifted it up and put it in its place. Now, one incident happens before the Seerah, and that is, there was a civil war around 100 years before the Prophet ﷺ, the tribe of Jurhum and the tribe of Khuza'a. And in this civil war, when Jurhum exited Mecca, they wanted to destroy the Kaaba as an animosity, as an act of, okay, if you're going to kick us out, we're not going to leave anything here. They wanted to get rid of the Hajr-e-Aswad. They wanted to, and they were the ones who got rid of the Zamzam well. Remember the story of Abdul Muttalib rediscovering Zamzam? Well, in that incident, when they covered up Zamzam, they also destroyed aspects of the Kaaba, and they pulled the Hajr-e-Aswad out. They pulled the Hajr-e-Aswad out and they buried it far, far away. It was Allah's qadr that a lady was hiding for her life. She was spared because they didn't know she was there, and she saw where they hid Hajr-e-Aswad. So as soon as Jurhum came, she said to them, I have seen it. And so the Hajr-e-Aswad was gone for a short period of time. It was then returned. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we're all aware what happened. He lifted the Hajr himself and he put it in. Now, some scholars say that when Jurhum removed the Hajr-e-Aswad, they had to hit it such that either it broke or it was weak and eventually it would break, because we're going to get to this point. A lot of people don't know this. So we are not 100% certain. Was it already broken, or the crack that they did when they took it out, it kind of made it damaged such that it was susceptible to being broken. So the Prophet ﷺ put it back, as we know, and it remained there until the time of Abdullah ibn Zubayr. What happened in the time of Abdullah ibn Zubayr, I went over this over here and in my library chats that I have on my YouTube channel, that Abdullah ibn Zubayr, the Umayyads attacked the Kaaba. Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf attacked the Kaaba and he threw catapults. The Kaaba was burnt. The Kaaba was burnt and the Hajr-e-Aswad was damaged. The Hajr-e-Aswad was damaged. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, for the first time, decided that we can't just leave the Hajr as a brick. So he was the first person to put that silver container around it. You all know that silver container, right? You all know that silver receptacle. Abdullah ibn Zubayr was the first person to say, we need to protect the Hajr-e-Aswad from any future attack. So he put it inside of a like a case. That's the case that you see. The idea came from Abdullah ibn Zubayr. That was the first time the Hajr-e-Aswad was put, and they say it was a case made out of alloys of silver and of other elements put together. Whatever he had, he just made it an icon or a case to put over there. That case remained until the time of Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid comes around 190 Hijrah. He does Tawaf around the Kaaba and he sees this Hajr-e-Aswad, and the same alloy and the same metal that Ibn Zubayr had put 150 years ago, 130 years ago, and it's decrepit, decayed, rusty. So he says, I need to build it again. So Harun al-Rashid spent a mini fortune, and he put 100% silver and like the most expensive material, because you have to remember, Ibn Zubayr, they didn't have access to what Harun al-Rashid had access to, right? Ibn Zubayr is, relatively speaking, in terms of civilization, don't misunderstand me, relatively primitive. I mean, they don't have, as for Harun al-Rashid, this is Baghdad, this is the city of 1,001 nights, this is the pinnacle of the Muslim empire. So the craftsmen and the skills and the technology has gone leaps and bounds. So Harun al-Rashid is the one who makes that shape that we're familiar with, right? That beautiful shape and that alloys. This is Harun al-Rashid in 190 Hijrah. So Harun al-Rashid makes that, and he then, covers the Hajr-e-Aswad in this regard. Then 317 Hijrah, a tragedy happens. Now, if you don't know this tragedy, I'm sorry that I have to be the one to tell this to you, but this is history. I don't change history, it is what it is. And I keep on saying, there's a statement you should memorize from me. Our religion is divine, our history is human. Our religion is divine, our history is human. In the year 317 Hijrah, there were many different schisms and groups, many different sects and ideologies. And one of the most fanatical sects, one of the most extreme, right-wing, literally like killing and murdering and mayhem. It was a breakaway of Ismaili Islam that called themselves the Qaramita, the Karamatians in English, the Qaramita. Now, Ismailism is one of the branches of Shi'ism. Very briefly, you have 7er Ismaili, you have 12er Ithna Ashari, you have 5er Zaydi. These are the main 3 branches of Shi'ism. And Ismailism is considered to be, from our perspective, the farthest to us. This has always been the case. And within Ismailism, there are many different branches. And in our times, all of you are aware, you have the Nizari Aga Khani branch, you have the Bohra branch, you have the Duruz as well. The Qaramita were the most extreme of the Ismailis, the most extreme. And they didn't follow the Sharia, they didn't pray 5 times a day, they had really bizarre theology, and they made an empire in what is now the island of Bahrain and Al-Ahsa in Saudi Arabia. Al-Ahsa, there's a region there. They made an entire empire over there, right? So they had their mini dynasty, separate from the Abbasids, separate from even the Fatimids. The Fatimids of Egypt were Ismaili. Right? The Qaramita said to the Ismaili Fatimid Caliphate, you are outside Islam, you are kafir. They didn't acknowledge the Fatimid Khalifa. They were that much breakaway. And they started fighting the Abbasids. And the Abbasids were weak. This is now, 317 Hijrah. The Abbasids are a complete disaster at this stage. So the Qaramita take over much of the Abbasid Empire. They surround Kufa. They were about to take over Kufa. They attempted to attack Baghdad, and they succeeded in attacking Mecca. In the year 317, they launched a surprise attack on Mecca itself. And during Hajj, this is one of the saddest times of our Islamic history, early Islamic history. During Hajj, they killed 20,000 Hujjaj. They massacred the Hajj of that year, killed them. It is said blood was flowing in the Haram. Astaghfirullah, they filled the bi'r of Zamzam with dead bodies. You could not drink Zamzam for months after this. They filled the well of Zamzam with dead bodies. Their leader uttered kufri statements on top of the Kaaba. I don't want to repeat them. You can look up books of histories, vulgar kufri statements. And he commanded the Hajr-e-Aswad be taken out. They attempted to remove it, but Harun al-Rashid had placed it so solidly, they could not remove the metal. They couldn't remove the silver. So they began hitting the Hajr-e-Aswad with an axe. And they caused the Hajr to crumble. And they then took the Hajr in a bag. Crumbled now, pebbles. And they went to their land far away, Qatif, Ahsa, in that region. And they built, I'm sorry to tell you this, this is history. They built another Kaaba over there. And they put the Hajr over there. And they demanded the people do Tawaf of that Kaaba. And the people refused, their own people in that region. So they fought their own people and killed another few thousand of their own people. For 22 years, there was no Hajr-e-Aswad in Mecca. For 22 years, the Hajr-e-Aswad was in Qatif. And by the way, to this day, that region, and some say that actual structure they built, it is still present to this day. Some say, I have people that have gone there, acquaintances of mine, they have said they have seen it, wallahu a'lam. But for sure the region is still there, the land is still there. And for 22 years, the Abbasid Khalifa attempted to get it back, but their empire was too strong. They fought them back. The Abbasid Khalifa said, give me a price and I'll get it back. They refused. 50,000, 100,000 gold coins, like, $10 million. They refused. They did not want to give it. Until it is said the Fatimids interceded. Because the Fatimids were, they had animosity between the Qaramita, but at least they were one strand. So the Fatimids interceded through some treaty, because what was happening was the Fatimids were getting the blame that this is your group. And the Fatimids was like, no, this is not our group, this is the Qaramita. It's not nothing to do with us. But because they were Ismaili, so the Fatimids were getting the blame that you guys are doing this. So the Fatimids felt the PR pressure, right? So the Fatimids intervened, they got involved with the Qaramita, and they made some type of treaty. The details are a bit vague, but the Qaramita then, it is said that, in the main mosque of Kufa, a bag was thrown in and said, this is the Hajr-e-Aswad. And so the pebbles were there. And so it was then brought back to the Haram in Mecca. And this is when, now again, this is a fact you should all be aware of. So now the Hajr-e-Aswad has been made into pebbles. It is no longer a stone, a brick. It has been into pebbles. They say there were 15, 20 such pebbles. So what the ruler of Mecca did, his name is known, what the ruler of Mecca did is that he made an ingot, he made like an alloy of tar and of metal and of other substances, and he placed pebbles into that ingot, into that mass, and then he put the silver around that. So the actual Hajr-e-Aswad is not the black ingot, the black stone that you see inside the silver. The actual Hajr-e-Aswad are small pebbles inside of that black structure. And if you look at any picture, and if Allah blesses you to ever kiss the Hajr-e-Aswad, make sure you take a look inside, and you will see small pebbles, each one of which is like this big. That is Hajr-e-Aswad. The bulk of the structure, sorry to tell you this, it's not the Hajr. Now by the way, all of it, if you just kiss it or what, you've done your job. Let's not make the religion more complicated. You don't have to aim your lips straight for that small little pebble. Don't worry about it, right? Allah is Ghafoor and Rahim. It's not our fault. What can we do? It happened, it happened. But technically speaking, you should be aware that that big black mass that you see, 95% of it is just alloys. And that alloy is updated every 100, 200 years. I think the last one was done, if I'm not mistaken, King Abdul Aziz's time, like around 70, 80 years ago. They updated that because it's a human product. It's not divine, it's a human product. So it corrupts it, whatnot. And so that alloy, which is a mixture of tar and other metals to put it in, the Hajr-e-Aswad is put in, and apparently the 6 or 7 of those stones have gone inside. So you don't see them. And only 7 are visible. Majority of them are too small to even see. Only 3 or 4 are bigger than my finger, like one size of it, this much. 3 or 4, like one side of it, the other side is going to be that. So just imagine small rocks, right? That's how it's going to be. So the Hajr-e-Aswad then was put into this ingot from the year 329, don't quote me, but roughly 329 Hijrah onwards. Now, that remained. The Mamluks came, solidified it, but the structure remained as is until Sulaiman al-Qanuni. Sulaiman al-Qanuni was the greatest Ottoman Khalifa. He expanded the Khilafah of the Ottomans, he conquered places in Europe, and he spent millions or tens of millions of dollars on, yani his currency, on Mecca and Medina and on Jerusalem. All of you people who have been to Palestine, what you see in Jerusalem is Sulaiman al-Qanuni's effects. The wall, the structure, the city, that's Sulaiman al-Qanuni. 550 years ago, that's what you are seeing. He did the same to Mecca and Medina. And in Mecca, he completely, by the way, he never went to Mecca and Medina. None of the Ottoman Khulafa ever did Hajj. None of the Ottoman Khulafa did Hajj. for reasons beyond the scope of this khatira. None of them came to Mecca to do Hajj. Sulaiman al-Qanuni did not do Hajj. But he spent a fortune on Mecca and Medina. And in fact, if you went to Mecca before 1980, you would have seen some of the original structures of Sulaiman al-Qanuni until 1980. He was the one who made some, plaques around the Kaaba to walk and do Tawaf. He made some of the structures, some of the doors. He also built the mihrabs. You would have seen some of the original structures before. Then 1980, they did their expansion and whatnot. So then you will find them in the Museum of Mecca, you will find. But 550 years ago, now, because he spent such a fortune, he did not go to Mecca, but he wanted to see the Hajr-e-Aswad. So what did he do? They brought the Hajr-e-Aswad to him. But not all of it. 5 pieces. They bought 5 pieces from this ingot, because he redid it again. He got rid of the tar and the metal, and then he redid it all over again. And when he redid it all over again, he's Sulaiman al-Qanuni, so he just took 5, put it in his pocket, metaphorically. Obviously he didn't put it in his pocket, he's in Istanbul. But it was brought to him in Turkey, in Istanbul. And Sulaiman al-Qanuni, his main architect, some of you should know this. Who was his main architect? Sinan. Sinan, the person who built like half of Istanbul is Sinan, right? Everywhere you go you find Sinan, 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 right? Sinan decided, the wazir of that time, Mehmed Pasha, the wazir of that time, Mehmed Pasha, decided that he will build a special masjid to house the 5 stones from the Hajr-e-Aswad. So he built a masjid called Masjid Sulaiman Pasha in Istanbul, standing to this day by Sinan. So Sulaiman Pasha financed his masjid. He was the vizier, and so being the vizier, however he got the stones, he got the stones. He got these 5 stones. Sinan built a special, beautiful masjid for the vizier, and at key places in the masjid, he put the Hajr-e-Aswad, or these 5 pebbles of the Hajr-e-Aswad. So when you walk into the masjid, one of them is there. When you're praying in the mihrab, one of them is there. When the khatib walks into the mihrab, the mimbar, one of them is there, right? So to this day, 5 stones of the Hajr-e-Aswad are in Istanbul. And a lot of tourists go, and they don't even know of this masjid, right? So I went there. You didn't go, it's not my fault. I went there. Well, can't take 100 people there. I went there, alhamdulillah. You just go there. It says Mehmed Pasha's masjid, and it's walking distance from Hagia Sophia. You just go there, and you can see for yourself the Hajr-e-Aswad, and these are extremely small. Just little pebbles, you'll find it over there. And you cannot touch them because they're very high up. And you just find it. You can see the architecture is pointing to that structure. So this what took place around 950 Hijr, yani 500 years ago. And that is still over there. From that time onwards, nothing much has changed. As we said, only the ingot has sometimes been updated. But by and large, the Hajr-e-Aswad has remained as it is. And this is the overall story. Final theological point. As Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu said, when he kissed the Hajr-e-Aswad, he said, I know you are not something that can help or harm me. We don't worship the Hajr-e-Aswad. In the end of the day, Allah Azza wa Jal, He blessed us to have that one icon there. But in the end of the day, as Umar al-Khattab said, you are a Hajar, you are a rock. You don't harm me, you don't benefit me. I only am kissing you because the Prophet ﷺ kissed you. So we have to be within our realm of Islamic Aqidah that yes, we do believe it is a special rock that Allah gifted to Ibrahim alayhi salam. It is also a historic rock. But in the end of the day, Allah is the one who blesses. And we just follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is a short history of Hajr-e-Aswad. Inshallah, next time you kiss the Hajr-e-Aswad, make dua for all of us. And when you go to Istanbul, visit which masjid? Mehmed Pasha. La, Mehmed Pasha. Because it's the vizier's masjid. The vizier had built his own masjid. Not Sulaiman is the Qanuni. Sulaiman Qanuni is the Khalifa. The vizier built the masjid, inshallah. And with that, inshallah, we'll continue other time. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.